to the ITSM Practice Podcast.
Welcome back to the ITSM Practice Podcast. I'm Luigi Ferri. What if risk wasn't just a function in your company, but a language spoken by everyone who makes decisions? Today, we explore ISO 31000, not just as a framework, but as a teaching system, one that helps organizations, small or large, think clearly, act confidently, and adapt continuously. Let's not rush, let's understand. What is ISO 31000 and what makes it unique? ISO 31000 is a global standard for risk management, but unlike others, it's not sector-specific and it's not prescriptive. Instead, it defines a mindset. It teaches that managing risk is about creating value, protecting objectives, improving decision-making. It works across IT and cybersecurity, environmental compliance, product design, business continuity, financial governance. Unlike technical standards like ISO 27001 or ISO 14001, ISO 31000 can sit above them, guiding how we manage uncertainty across all functions. Principles first. Risk without culture is just math. ISO 31000 begins with 8 principles. They define the quality of any risk management activity. And let's walk through them educationally, not just as a list. Integration. Risk is not a department. It must be part of every decision across HR, IT, finance, and operations. Structured and comprehensive. This prevents scattered risk handling. Consistency builds reliability. Customization. Risk must reflect your mission, values, and size. A startup and a global bank don't assess risk the same way. Inclusiveness. Bring those closest to the risk into the analysis. Engineers, operators, customer support. Dynamic nature. Risks change constantly. Static registers quickly become outdated. Best available information. Use what's available, improve it, and acknowledge limitations. Human and cultural factors, biases, fear, and organizational silence all shape how risk is perceived and escalated. Continual improvement. Risk maturity is never done. It improves through feedback, incidents, and learning. This is not philosophy, it's practice. One gap in project management, change control, or vendor oversight can expose the entire organization. Now, risk management as a system. ISO 31000 proposes a 6-part framework that integrates risk into how a business runs. First, leadership and commitment. If executives don't model risk thinking, no one else will. Second, integration. Risk must be embedded in strategic planning, project delivery, and supplier management. Third, design. This is about setting scope and objectives, understanding internal and external factors. 4. Implementation. Develop capabilities, tools, and accountability. Risk owners must know what they own. 5th, evaluation. Periodic reviews test if the framework actually supports better outcomes. 6. Improvement. Feedback loops ensure adaptability to new challenges, regulations, or lessons learned. Now, ask yourself, do your teams treat risk as a live input into decisions or as a formality to sign off? Can you trace business decisions back to the evaluated risk scenarios? If not, the framework exists only on paper. The risk management process explained with the context. Here is where ISO 31000 becomes fully actionable. Let's go step by step as if we were onboarding a team into this process. First, communication and consultation. Start with the people. Clarify purpose. Include internal stakeholders and external partners. Second, establishing a context. Before any risk can be assessed, define strategic objectives, operational constraints, stakeholder expectations, regulatory boundaries. Third, risk assessment. A. Risk identification. What could prevent us from achieving our goals? Think. Delays, attacks, shortages, failure. B. Risk analysis. What causes each risk? What's the likelihood? What's the impact? Financial, reputational, legal. C. Risk evaluation. Which risks exceed our tolerance and must be treated? 4. Risk treatment. Choose and justify your approach. Avoid, cancel activity. Reduce, add controls. Transfer, sign insurance. Accept, with informed approval. 5th, monitoring and review. Track indicators like time to detect, near misses, treatment effectiveness. And the last one, recording and reporting. Transparency matters. Good documentation builds trust and pass audits. Teach this not just to security or compliance, but to product owners, project leads, and HR. That's how you create a risk culture. Let's make this practical. A small IT company might use ISO 31000 by building a shared risk register in Jira, assigning owners and reviewing biweekly. A multinational might integrate it with enterprise risk tools, apply scenario modeling, and conduct workshops at the service and board level. What matters is that everyone speaks the same language. ISO 31000 doesn't ask for a certification. ISO 31000 is less about compliance and more about consistency. ISO 31000 plays well with others. ISO 27005 deepens risk assessments for information security. ISO 31010 offers 30 techniques, SWOT, PESTLE, fault tree analysis, Monte Carlo simulation. ISO 22301 for business continuity aligns perfectly with ISO 31000's response and monitoring processes. When you build this bridge, you replace silhouette assessment with the systematic understanding. I remember a transformation project where the team stopped asking, is this allowed? And start asking, what risk are we accepting by doing this? And how do we explain it to stakeholders? That's when you know ISO 31000 is not a document anymore. It's part of your thinking. It educates not just what we do, but why we choose it. ISO 31000 not to write reports, but to guide how your teams define context before jumping to action. Think in options, not only controls. Document risk to educate future decisions, not justify past ones. Thank you. This was the ITSM practice. I'm Luigi Ferri. Until next time, manage risks as if every decision teaches something, because that's how it becomes part of your DNA. Arrivederci.